Let me ask you a question. What is your daily recipe? Like a recipe, there's something significant in the best days that you have that makes everything taste great. It's the thing that ties time and day together for you. Now with week 2 and the first 5, your main focus is to spend some time evaluating your main daily routine. Think about it like you would calculate monthly bills, so that way you stay on track. And a smart thing to do is to keep track of each penny coming in and going out, right? So I would assume you know your monthly number, like how much profit there is or isn't, or how much money there is to do something fun, or how much money there isn't to do something fun, and so on. Now here's a serious question. Have you ever thought about time like an income source? Now sure, you might have come across videos where people talk about becoming an entrepreneur and not having somebody constantly over your head telling you what to do and how to do it, or trading your time for money and becoming the entrepreneur to do so, and so on. We're talking about that in the same context but different. What we want to maximize on is the total amount of time that you spend doing something in particular. In the same context, I ask of you to find what your weekly or daily number of time is. For example, I'm at work for 8 hours every day from 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. It takes 30 minutes to get home unless I stop to put gas or grab something to eat. Then it might take 45 to 50 minutes, pending the drive-through line, I guess you would say, or the line inside the restaurant. Then I'm at home awake from 4:30 p.m. to maybe 9:30 p.m. I sleep or rest from 9:30 p.m. until 5:30 a.m. and the day starts over until my day's off. Doesn't matter when they are, whether it's Monday to Friday and then I'm off the weekends, whatever. That schedule is the same until your day's off. And then when you're on your days off, you have 16 hours of the day to do whatever you choose, right? Now other ways, on a work day, I only have perhaps 5 hours a day to do anything, because when I get home, it's about 4:30, and then I don't go to sleep until 9:30, maybe 10 p.m. And now there's a whole gold mine of money right there in that time frame. I need you to say this to yourself a couple times, or more if you choose. I need you to say, how do I spend my time versus how do I use my time? Here's the next question. After saying that multiple times to yourself or out loud, does it sound like there's a difference between the two? And if there is, write it down. Okay, this might sound kind of passive, so you're forewarned. Now, once you figure out what your number is, right, your daily number, let's say for example, it's 5 hours a day after work. Now think of that 5 hours like a sack of gold. And sometimes there are people or friends or family, right? And sometimes it's intentionally or unintentionally, where that time is valuable to them, your time is valuable to them because they want to spend time with you, right? And you sometimes tend to just go with the flow and just go spend that time with them or doing that thing, whatever the case may be. Which is the point that we're getting to here. How you value that point of time, or that point in time of 5 hours, right? That sack of gold will dictate whether or not you'll start to take back more time. Or in other words, let's say it like this. Right now, you do not have your time. You do not own your time when you go to your job. You go to the job to get paid for the time you spend at the place, right? Therefore, 8 hours of the day is not yours, but the job's. When you get home, 5 hours of the day is yours. And whether or not you're too tired, too mentally strained, or too emotionally, I guess you would say, broke, but not showing it, and so on. If all of these factors are in one whole bundle, right? And then it comes down to those 5 hours of time. Whether or not you change your perspective on, okay, if I take the bull by the horns of these 5 hours and I start researching on how to upskill. In other words, choose a skill, for example, like writing. How the hell do I get better at writing? What do I have to learn? What should I research? What do I like? What are my interests? What's really hot right now? What should I talk about? You know what I mean? How should I approach writing in general? Once you have found maybe one avenue, one road to drive through, now you can kind of dictate, well, I have these 5 hours, and on a daily routine, I don't mind spending 1 hour a day to researching. After I'm done researching, I don't mind spending another hour jotting down some notes, or while I'm researching, jot down some notes so I multitask, so that way when I do want to spend some actual time writing something, I can write about what I learned, right? After those 2 hours are done, you don't have to do 2 hours, this is simply just an example, but after those 2 hours are done, your day is done. You have just accumulated 2 hours of your life back, right? There's 5 hours, let's say that we threw hundreds of bars of gold on a table, and one bar is 2 hours worth of time, and it's your time that you can pull back. How many of those bars do you think that you would try to grab from that table if I told you grab as many as you want for as long as you live, right? How many hours will you spend, or how many hours will you invest into taking back your time that you very, very, very well are worthy of? That is my last question. Answer on a piece of paper, on a digital piece of paper. I will have a question sheet along to go with this one, like I had for week 1, and let's keep moving. And obviously, the final question I would ask you, which is my call to action, right, or whatever you want to call it, is how would you break down those example 5 hours a day to perhaps build something, secure something, and solidify something, or solidify a private and personalized routine. A routine that is completely opposite of work's routine, right? Because I think you want to call it work-life balance. Leave work at work the best that you can. Whereas if you don't have a family or kids or wife or a girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, then how would you build that private, personalized routine of those hours of time that are available just sitting on the table waiting for you to grab them? How would you break down those daily 5 hours? The video is almost done, and I just wanted to tell you one thing. Don't take this like it's the only route to change your whole life, because there are hundreds of people out there that probably do things better than I do. I have my own approach, nothing stylish or nothing specific. So if you are finding this content very informative and useful, please consider subscribing. It helps me mentally grow, it helps me emotionally grow, it helps me, I guess, believe that I'm doing the right thing, and I'm trying something different as far as my approach with my YouTube channel. So it would just show me that you are listening and you are there. And another thing is, also click the like button, because I guess there's a special thing called an algorithm, and it pays attention to people who like videos. That way this video can get recommended to everybody or anyone randomly. It would help out those people to get this type of content, and obviously I'd like to continue posting this type. So if this is helping you out, share it with whoever you think could use it, and let's get back to the video. Last but not least, build your plan of attack. You can never, I guess you could say, win a war if there's no strategy behind the victory. Not that I know of, not that I've ever heard of in history, and if you have, please send it my way. I would be more than willing to swallow my pride on that sentence. Now, think about the things that you want to try, right? The things that you want to use with, I guess, use time constraints with purposefully. And if you have more or less time in a day to set aside, pick a reasonable time frame to get to that mini routine and have fun with it. Don't be a boring robot where you're like, I have 5 hours of my day, I just want to do this and that. It's not about that. It's simply, hey, if you're researching, turn on some music, dance around a little bit. If you're not the music type, put on some study music with some headphones. Usually does the job for me. It helps me narrow down my focus as long as the rest of the house is pretty quiet and I guess you would say occupied with great people. Then you'll be able to get some great things going. And next is if I or you only have 5 hours of the day. This is only during the week and not including weekends. Let's do a little bit of math, all right? I'm a numbers guy as well, so this is why I break it down. And this is what I think will also plant an inspiration seed deep inside of your mind. Now, if I only have 5 hours a day to myself, right? And this is only during the week and not including weekends, so that I can dedicate to myself. Okay, well then, if I do the math for my 10,000 hours, that should take me roughly 5 days times 4 in a month equals 20 days. 10,000 hours divided by 20 is roughly 500 days to have mastered one or multiple skills. 10,000 hours. If you do the math, break it down. 10,000 hours divided by 20, which was 5 times 4 equals 20 days, spent only an hour or two just to get 10,000 hours. Now, if we go a little bit further, 500 days minus 365 days is roughly about 135 days. So you could say that's about a year and a half, maybe 2 years at the most, not including the days you might have to call off sick from doing research, from writing, from your quote-unquote example skill set building, right? Like you might have to postpone some days because things happen, life happens, emergencies happen, family events come up sometimes during the week on Fridays. You gotta include a little extra time. But 500 days minus the 365 leaves you with 135 days extra to work with. Therefore, it could take roughly 2 years to master one or multiple skills. If you just took or created your own recipe, a daily recipe, aka a daily routine for that extra time that you have after work. And it only takes, sometimes for some people, 30 minutes a day to just sit down and write something in a journal, while others can get a lot more critical and split up an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, so on. You could also watch, what was his name? Big Box SWE. His video is called The 50-50 Rule for Learning Programming. One thing I love to do is watch other people's video and try to figure out how I can use their strategy for my own materials. Shout out to Big Box SWE. He doesn't even know me, but definitely like watching some of his content whenever he does post. With that said, if you enjoyed this video, again, you already heard me what I said a little bit ago. That's gonna end the video. Hope you enjoyed this week. I'll have the link in the description for the questionnaire for this week. Peace out. My name's Rick Reyna Jr., aka this is the Gorilla channel, or it was the Axios, but anyways, I'm out.